Hey, welcome back to Bible and Blues, and in this video we're going to be talking about 10 facts about atheists. This is via Pew Research Center. This is an older article from Pew Research Center in their fact tank. You'll see the link to this down below, and it is from June 1st, 2016. Finding new information, of course, is always difficult because it costs them a lot of money in order to put out more information. So today also today marks probably my second or third video now that I've done since they changed the program. So if you are a small channel like me, I'm a micro channel really when you come right down to it. If you're a small channel like mine, you are not eligible for monetization anymore. They yanked that away from me, and oh my gosh, now I'm not going to make any money. Personally, I'm okay with this. That's all right. That doesn't hurt. It's not going to hurt me. I think I made, I think on my biggest month, I think I made $2. That really doesn't have that effect as far as money is concerned. But one of the effects that it has is that I used to have a good idea of if I was being kind of, I don't want to call it edgy because I'm not an edgy person. But if I was doing something along the lines of the wrong thing in the tags, or just something that wasn't necessarily advertiser friendly, I'd find out and I could adjust things, and that's to make sure it went out to the broadest audience possible, of course. And one of the ways you can tell if you're going to get maybe deplatformed a little bit is by being demonetized. So you could take a look at that, and you could check it out. You could try to help the algorithm by asking for it to be to be manually reviewed, and hopefully that was helping the algorithm to say, okay, well, maybe this stuff isn't bad. We shouldn't need to monetize it right off the top. That's all gone. So I am among the 95% of channels out there who are too small to be monetized now. So I guess it's kind of all no holds barred until I get to the point where I have the 1,000 subscribers, and if ever, which could happen, and the number of hours, and unless they raise the bar between now and then, which could happen. So anyway, why am I coming back to this stuff? I haven't done this in months. As a matter of fact, the last one I did got a response video, which for some reason, I don't know why, but the last somebody actually the last video I did was just I was smoking some meat on my barbecue on my grill, and I did a video about it. It was how to smoke a brisket and beef back ribs on a charcoal grill, and you can check that out right up here. And and for some reason, some guy decides he's going to post a link to that response video from 4 months ago, like I haven't seen it already. I'm like, yeah, and I mean, what does this have to do with smoking brisket? Of course, this thing, because there was a link in it, it went straight to the likely spam, and I just kind of left it there because it has absolutely nothing to do with the video. So, all right. So I'll, just a troll, I guess. That's fine. Trolls are never going to go away from the internet. So anyway, so that's why one of the reasons it's like, well, obviously I can't get away from that past, and so we're going to dive right back into it. So let's go over this Pew Research Center from June 1st, 2016. We're talking 10 facts about atheists. Is out of their fact tank, news in the numbers. Just different ways you can look at it here. So, all right. We're going to go through this. I'm just going to kind of give my opinions. Obviously, I'm an opinion guy a little more often than facts guy. So it's one of the reasons why that response video was able to pick me apart pretty good, because I'm an opinion. So let's give my opinion about some things here. 10 facts about atheists. Estimating the number of atheists in the U.S. is complicated. Duh. Some adults who describe themselves as atheists also say they believe in God or a universal spirit. Stop right there. Full stop. Let's ask a question here. What's the definition of atheism? Okay, so I took the time before this, and I pulled up atheism from Merriam-Webster. Okay, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which, if you don't know what that is, it ain't the Urban Dictionary. It's an actual factual dictionary. So the definition per Merriam-Webster, 1A, a lack of belief or a strong disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods. I like this because in 1B, it kind of shuts up a certain amount because, we'll get to it here. 1B, a philosophical or religious position characterized by disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods. Okay, the reason I like that one is how many atheists out there are saying that atheism is not a religion. It is. It is a philosophical or religious position. You are taking a position when you call yourself an atheist. You are saying that there is no God, a strong disbelief in the existence of a God or any gods. It is a lack of belief, which they use that word, that they focus on that part. There's more to it, guys. A strong disbelief in the existence of a God or any gods. A philosophical or religious position characterized by disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods. So let's contrast it. Definition of theism: belief in the existence of a god or gods. So let's move on. Number one, the share of Americans who identify as atheists has roughly doubled in the past several years. Pew Research Center's 2014 Religious Landscape Study found that 3.1% of American adults say they are atheists when asked about their religious identity. Wait. So they say it's up. But you see also in our introduction, some adults who describe themselves as atheists also say they believe in God. Let's go back to our definition. A lack of belief or a strong disbelief. A lack of belief. Can you call yourself an atheist and say you believe in a God and still, and this is how these numbers get skewed up. These are how these numbers get skewed up. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not a rise. Okay, there is. And it's not going to be something that can. It's not even tell that debatable because the rise of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, who are based also kind of not, they've kind of peaked. Okay, it's like peak physical conditioning. Yeah, they peaked and it's coming down. So let's look at some of these numbers. Interestingly enough, when Pew Research has a chart over here, and it says atheist, agnostic. So they lumped atheism and agnosticism together in order to get their numbers. Okay. And that's part of the reason. Okay. Then they have a nothing in particular group. Okay. Now, nothing in particular, the best way I guess, let me see here. Those who describe their religion as nothing in particular are subdivided into two groups. The religion is not important. I'm reading directly from this here. The religion is not important group includes those who say religion is not too or not at all important in their lives. Well, I'll be honest, that kind of qualifies for about 85% of the Christians I know. As well as those who decline to answer the question about religion's importance. So they're just, they're scared. It's like, never talk about religion. The religion important category includes those who say religion is very or somewhat important in their lives. Okay, but they're still considered unaffiliated. So that's one of the things. So the net unaffiliated has gone up from 16.1% in 2007 to 22.8% in 2014, which is just 4 years ago. So, and I bring this up because, it's very important to understand where the numbers are coming from. Changing the definition of atheism to include people who believe in God or universal spirits skews your numbers dramatically. Okay. because you actually take a whole lot of people who are actually not atheists. They do not have a strong disbelief in God or gods, okay, or the supernatural in general. And they put a lot of those people right up into the atheist category. Is there an increase in atheism? Yes, I am not denying that. But you have to understand what they're doing here. They changed the definition in order to make in order to inflate their numbers. It's like politics. Okay? So, okay, we'll move on to number 2. We have quite a bit to go through here. Atheists in general are more likely to be male and younger than the overall population. 68% are men, and the median age of atheist adults in the U.S. is 34. So it's a younger generation thing. And if you would have asked me when I was 34 about religion, I would have fallen under at least the 85% of Christians who don't do anything about it, don't pray, they're spiritual, okay, or pay occasional lip service, and that's about it. At age 34, I fell under that category. I was not a practicing Christian. As a matter of fact, I was among the people that if I passed away and died and met Jesus, and Jesus would have said, I don't know you. You don't know me. You are not following me at all. So I would have fallen under that at age 34. I would have been in the nothing in particular group. Okay? I would have been in that group. And so, which I would have skewed those numbers up at age 34. Okay? So, atheists who are more likely to be white, 78% are Caucasian, versus 66% for the general public is Caucasian. And highly educated, about 4 in 10 atheists, 43%, have a college degree, compared to 27% of the general public. Okay, we talk about that a little bit, mostly because that's where a lot of people who were like I was, you had a level of Christian upbringing, so you know the basics. You're not following, it gets in the way of your partying. You go to college, and you are exposed to the Dawkins believers and the Harris believers, and maybe they come to your college, and maybe you have this incredible, very charismatic atheist professor, and you get convinced very quickly. Your mind's mush. You're 18, 19 years old, and your mind is mush, and all of a sudden, this person who is not your parents, telling you something totally opposite. So yeah, you become an atheist at that point in time, out of college. And so there is an indoctrination place right there to become atheist. It's not and it's an indoctrination place. It's not an antidote. And partially I say that because when you get older, you pass that 34. It took, for me, until I was about 37 before I was actually in my 40s before I actually started following Jesus. It comes later in life when you've gotten past certain aspects of your social life, and I think is part of it. There are people also I think, to speak on this, I think we as Christians don't do a very good job teaching our children the reasons why, the evidence that we do have, and talk about things like DNA and why that actually is an incredible packet of information and a virtual computer program that doesn't make sense to anybody who really studies it, that it happened accidentally. If you really study it, you talk to people. I mean, they may not become Christians, they may not become theists, but they will definitely look at you and say, how could this possibly happen on its own? So that's a whole nother video. So that's my words on that. And you want, the concept of likely to be white and are Caucasian. Okay, again, it's a college thing. There is a reason for for the NAACP to try to get African Americans to go to college. They have a lower college rate. There's a higher college rate for Caucasians. All right, so moving on to number 3. This is going to take a while. Sorry, guys. Self-identified atheists tend to align with the Democratic Party and with political liberalism. Why? Why would they do that? For some reason, the Conservative Party and the Christians have been aligned together and are shown that way and viewed that way. And then, I lean right without a doubt. I've kind of always leaned right, whether I was a practicing Christian or not. However, among the Christians that I know, and because, let's face it, I do hang around Christians a lot more than I do any other religious group. Among the Christians that I know, there are plenty on the left and there are plenty on the right. And so to say that conservatism, is a Christian thing, I think it's a media-driven concept in my mind. Okay, I think that's an argument that can be made. Again, another potential video. I should be writing some of these down. Okay. Well, let me see here. Atheists overwhelmingly favor same-sex marriage and legal abortion. Okay, so here's the concept, my concept behind that. First off, most Christians that I know don't really have a big issue with same-sex marriage. We start to have an issue when the next step is telling us that we have to perform a same-sex marriage in our church, and you're stepping into our beliefs about how that should be. Marriage as defined by the government is a different thing than marriage defined by the church. It really is. And so, marriage with the government is a very contractual thing. It can be dissolved. It's not easy to dissolve it. That's called divorce. Okay. But it grants rights. It has effects on taxes. It has effects on all kinds of things like that. Medical, all that. Marriage in the church is defined much differently. It is an act of two becoming one. Okay. Of two halves creating one guided entity in marriage. Okay. And so there's a very different potential aspect between the two. So, and legal abortion, let's talk about that real quick. I suppose if you don't have a strong belief in the human soul, you have a less strong belief in the value of human life. In which case, at that point, if somebody wants to get rid of a fetus, and let's look at they're Democrats. It says right here, 69% identify as Democrats. Are we talking about people? What's the Democratic Party, platform on abortion? It is, and if you don't look it up, okay, is abortion on demand at any time up until the actual natural birth of the child. Okay, so if you don't value life because there is no soul and it's just a clump of cells and all you are is chemicals fizzing and the product of evolution, and if you don't have anyway, and you're just DNA propagating itself, well, I guess what does it matter, right? Okay, so there you go. That's why they can believe that. In addition, 74% say that government aid to the poor does more good than harm. And if you don't think that the church is a good thing, that would make sense to you. And as compared to what I know of the church, and I had it up at my laptop, so I'm gonna have to pull it up here. But Catholic giving. I'm not a Catholic. But Catholic giving numbers, statistics. So, how much money does Catholic Church give to charity each year? In 2010, here's one. Report expenditures between $4.2 billion and $4.4 billion. Okay. And that's Catholic Charities USA. $4.2 billion and $4.4 billion is, in charity. Okay, and that's just dollars. Okay, that's not services. That's there's so much more involved in what a church does. You have classes, you have you have missions that you do. We send people to other countries to help them build farms and dig wells, and we send people who do dental work, to give these people a chance at a better life. And if you only think dental work matters, trust me, as a person with a full denture plate up above, dental work matters. Okay, you go through life with a toothache. Try it out. So that's just, and so if you don't believe that the church is doing that, if you actually have the skewed sense that all the church is doing is taking in money, then yes, you're going to think then the government does it, and that is good. I think my personal belief is that the government needs to back off. Government needs to stop doing so much of that work and let the church do its job, and because that really is a major part of our job. That's one of the ways we do outreach. It's what we're called to do. We are called to give to the poor. Okay, number 4. Although the literal definition of atheist is a person who does not believe in the existence of God or any gods, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, 8% of those who call themselves atheists also say they believe in God or universal spirit. Okay, so now we even have a percentage of the people that are completely wrong in their definition. Indeed, 2% say they are absolutely certain about the existence of God or a universal spirit. Alternatively, there are many who fit the dictionary definition of atheist, but do not call themselves atheists. About 3 times many, blah, 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 9% say they are. That's kind of a, I'd like for that. I'll have to dig into that right there. About 3 times many Americans say they do not believe in God or universal spirit, 9%, as say they are atheists, because we don't like atheism. Okay. Because atheists are not liked. I don't want to be involved in that group. You're a bunch of... Okay, no. There are other people that get that harsh. And yeah, I might. Who knows? It's not today. Number 5. Unsurprisingly, more than 9 in 10 self-identified atheists say religion is not to or not at all important in their lives. And what a surprise! Religion's not important to 9 in 10. And the other 10%, guess what? They're on YouTube. And they're doing things like posting really old response videos to meat smoking videos about smoking brisket and ribs. What the heck were you thinking?
I found this really great video of a response for you that Thomas Cranium did. I'm really gonna get you.
Really? Moving on. They say nearly all 97% say they seldom or never pray. So 3% of atheists pray. That's what that tells me. Okay. At the same time, many do not see a contradiction between atheism and pondering their place in the world. No, that's not at all. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually why one of the things that God did with us was gave us the opportunity to actually the brains to look at that and to ponder it, and gave us free will to choose him or not. Okay. 3 in 10, 31%. This is all under number 5. So the 3 and 31% say they feel a deep sense of spiritual peace and well-being, at least weekly. I don't know what that means. Good for you. A similar share often thinks about the meaning and purpose of life. Okay. All right. And roughly half of all atheists frequently feel a deep sense of wonder about the universe, up from 37% in 2007. Oh, wow. So, yeah, you should. I mean, again, we're designed that way. And this is one actually that kind of bothers me a little bit, but I'm going to give the bad on my side a little bit here. In fact, atheists are more likely than U.S. Christians to say they often feel a sense of wonder about the universe. 54% versus 45%. And I'm going to call out Christians on that because, it's one thing to have a sense of security because of your belief and because of your faith, but it's quite another to lose your sense of wonder about it. We are called to be as children and have that sense of wonder and to look in the heavens and be amazed. Look at the pictures we get from Hubble Space Telescope and be amazed at the expanse. And there are more galaxies than there are grains of sand on the entire Earth. Okay, you think about that. Sense of wonder. You need a sense of wonder. Okay, and if you don't have it, you're relying on you're not doing actually what God said to do. Be as children. Have that sense of wonder. Be amazed at space, at our universe. Be amazed that we have figured out what a quark might be. Okay, be amazed at the microscopic. Be amazed at the incredible, and I think if this is true, Christians are falling down on that a little bit. I mean, you need to look at that, and if atheists are more amazed about when they look at the universe than Christians, I think we are falling down on that a little bit. Okay, number 6. Halfway through this. Oh Lord, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep saying that. Hopefully, we'll get this done in about 15-20 minutes. In the 2014 Religious Landscape Study, self-identified atheists were asked how often they share their views on God and religion with religious people. Only about 1 in 10 atheists say they do it at least weekly, and they're on YouTube. Or at least they're commenting. Most of them don't have videos, and as a matter of fact, 3/4 of them look like brand new accounts. What a surprise. It's a brand new account. It has no liked videos except for maybe 2 or 3. Wow. What an amazing thing. And what do you know? They don't have any content of their own. Okay, so, well, roughly 2/3, 65%, say they seldom or never discuss their views on religion with religious people. Well, no, it doesn't surprise me either, because a lot of Christians don't, professing Christians don't share their views either. By comparison, 26% of those who have religious affiliation share their views at least once a week with those who have other beliefs. Okay. I'm going to call that out just a little bit because they did say religious affiliation. So, it does take out the people who, in the very first chart, says, nothing in particular in the net unaffiliated group. Okay. And which many of them would actually be affiliated if you dug into it a little bit. But this is whatever. I'm not really going to discuss that too much. But 26% of those who have a religious affiliation, in other words, they attend church regularly and share their views at least once a week with those who have other beliefs. Obviously, I'm doing it right now. Okay. 43% say they seldom or never do. Okay. And that 43%, I think, is a bad thing. I think there's a big gap between the 26% of those who do it and 43% who say they seldom or never do. So there's something in between there. So, but at the same time, that 43%, that's they're not following the commands of Christ right there. So I would actually even say the 43% who seldom or never do probably aren't that faithful. Or I'm not calling out individuals, but you do have a calling. So virtually no atheists, 1%, turn to religion for guidance on questions of right and wrong. But increasing numbers are turning to science. So define to me, please. Okay, let's finish it up. Maybe it's in there. About 1/3 of atheists, 32%, say they look primarily to science for guidance on questions of right and wrong, up from 20% in 2007. A plurality, 44%, still cite practical experience and common sense as their primary guide on such questions. But that is down from 52% in 2007. Okay, so you're turning to science for your definition of right and wrong. So science is telling you morality. Science is telling you not to murder. Science is telling you not to beat your dog. Okay? Science is telling you these things. How does that work? Okay? And to me, this is one of the places where atheism really falls down, because you don't have a good definition of what's right or wrong. I'm not saying you're bad people. You're not. You can have awesome morals, especially by today's standards, as an atheist. Absolutely. You can. I'm saying that, how does science define that? Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few things here and there of the idea that you are you take you have your the idea of the evolving society, and so social science, is that it? Is social science it? Maybe that's it. Help me out here, people. Maybe you have something. I mean, and so Americans like atheists less than they like the members of most major religious groups. Yes, that is right. A 2014 Pew Research Center survey asked Americans to rate groups on a feeling thermometer from 0, as cold and negative as possible, to 100, the warmest, most positive possible ratings. U.S. adults gave atheists an average rating of 41, comparable to the rating they gave Muslims, 40, and far colder than the average given to Jews, 63, Catholics, 62, and evangelical Christians, 61. Okay. I'm not surprised about the evangelical Christians. I'm kind of surprised that the Jewish people got a 63 over the Catholics a 62. But, and I'm actually kind of surprised that they actually edged out Muslims. And and to be honest, I think there is a problem with the concept of Muslims these days in America, without a doubt. But personally, when I look at that, I think I have far more in common with Muslims than I do with atheists. Obviously, I think I can have a much better conversation about Jesus with a Muslim than I can with an atheist. But so I would definitely, not surprising, that U.S. adults gave atheists a low rating. No, because the 1% who are vocal are jerks. Okay, as a general rule, your tactics are abrasive, they're mocking, and you sound horrible and like horrible people as a general rule. That 1% that's vocal. And to be honest, like Richard Dawkins, he's a jerk. Okay, Sam Harris at least has a humbleness to him. He gets some stuff wrong, obviously, but he at least has some humble. But Richard Dawkins, he's a jerk. Okay, I mean, I've listened to him. Christopher Hitchens, I hope he had a last second conversion, because he definitely had a mocking way about him. If you're a person of faith, you don't like to listen to that. Of course, that's not a conversation. Have you checked out some of the comment sections? Okay, the comment sections. You guys who are the atheists, the comments in there. There's some good ones. There's some people that want to just debate, but there's a percentage of them out there that are just jerks. Okay, and the good news is we have a block button. Okay, so up to number 9. Okay, so about half of Americans, 51%, say they would be less likely to support an atheist candidate for president. Yeah. More than say the same about a candidate with any other traits mentioned in Pew Research survey. Well, I don't think they put it up against somebody who is a rapist. Wait, Bill Clinton. More than say the same about a candidate with any other trait, including being Muslim. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because you have a right to religion. You can be a Muslim and be president. There is an issue that a lot of people have, strangely enough. However, here's my point that I'm going to make on this. If you are an atheist, you don't have a guiding moral compass that I can point to. If you are a Muslim, a Christian, a Jewish, any faith, okay, I can look at a guiding moral compass of yours. And if you are not following that moral compass, I can judge you on it, okay? If you are an atheist, you have no real guiding moral compass, and you can't even really tell me outside of fear of prison and an ethereal that you can't define, evolution of society concept, why you can't tell me why it's not okay to stomp on babies, okay, and kill puppies, and you can't tell me that. Aside from saying, well, it's just obvious you can't do that. Well, yes, it's obvious, but why? Okay, so moving on with that. Okay, number 10, we're down to the last one. Yeah, we burned through the last part of it a lot faster. About half of Americans, 53%, say that it is not necessary to believe in God to be moral. I think I just stated that. While 45% say belief in God is necessary to have good values. I disagree with that. You can have good values and have absolutely no faith that there is a God. You simply can't tell me why. Outside of fear of prison, fear of being ostracized by a society, things like that, loss of job, things like that, outside of a fear aspect, okay, you can't tell me why. Okay. Whereas if there is a God, morals, there is a moral law and a moral lawgiver. Before you sit there and say, well, you're doing it so you don't go to hell. No, that's not how it works. I have faith in, I give my faith to Jesus Christ, and I am sanctified through him, not through my actions or my poor actions, which I still have poor actions all the time. According to 2014 survey, in other wealthy countries, smaller shares tend to say that a belief in God is essential for good morals, including just 15% in France. But in many other parts of the world, nearly everyone that says that a person must believe in God to be moral, including 99% in Indonesia and Ghana and 98% in Pakistan. Now, there's a whole thing to unpack in there, okay? I mean, that right there, that there's books and volumes that are written on the concept, okay? So that really is a gloss over. And I don't think it's very clear about the whole concept of the morals. Again, like I say, you can be moral, and it's like, okay, it depends, and we're looking at your standards of society at that point in time. Are you moral by the standards of society? It's like, Senator, when did you stop beating your wife? So it's, morals are at that point in time are a sliding scale. And when you have a moral lawgiver in God, and atheists are not going to agree with this, of course, but you're going to be held to a higher standard. It at the same time. If your faith is in Jesus, and it is through His blood that you are forgiven, it is not through your own acts. You're going to change your morals based on not fear, because once given, forgiveness is not rescinded. Forgiveness is not rescinded, but once given, you're going to do it because you want to. You want to be a more moral person. I want to be better to my son and my wife, and I sometimes struggle with that just like everybody else. I want to do a better job at my work because of Jesus, and I'll still struggle with that too. I want to make better music. If you've heard me play, I have to. I can't make much worse. So anyway, so that's that. What did you think of that, people? Do you have an opinion on this right here? So these were 10 facts about atheists, and given to you with my opinions, Bible and Blues, God and Music. I've got this shirt now. It says not for sale at this point in time. I am not selling this shirt. It's the only one in existence. But I liked it, and I did it, and you tell me, would you buy one? I don't know. I paid money for it, but it's my channel, so there you go. Anyway, I really thank you for this, and if you saw that other response video, I've seen it. All right, I saw the whole thing, and then I spent 200-300 comments into that video dealing with it. I'm done with that. I mean, if that's all you got, okay. You're among the 1% of atheists, or 10% of atheists, 1 in 10, that's what it is, who actually say anything about it, but you're not saying much, okay? You're not saying what hasn't already been said. So, give me your opinion on these 10 facts about atheists. What are your opinions on this? Tell me. Let's take this conversation. Let's keep it civil. And just so you know, there's some of you out there that like to give dissertations in the comment section. When you get 200-300 video comments onto onto something, they don't get read. Just as a matter of fact, even if there's only like 10 comments, if you give a 1,000-word dissertation on in the comment section with 10 points on it, do one, make a point, step away, see what somebody says, make another point, step away, see what somebody responds, make another point. Okay, this whole idea that I see this all the time, and it happens a lot with in the YouTube comment section. Like, we don't read that much. I don't have time to. I have a life outside of this. I'd have to sit there and read nonstop. And I'd rather read more philosophical stuff. Right now I'm reading Jordan Peterson's latest book, and really enjoying that. I'm about chapter 8 on that. So, all right. So tell me what you think. Give me your opinion, and keep it brief. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Be sure to like and subscribe.